So most software engineers can debug code that will break most people's brains, but ask them to get a second date with a woman they're genuinely excited about, complete system failure.
It shouldn't be that complicated, but people make it a lot complicated because if you haven't done it before, yes, you don't know what you're doing. Of course, you're gonna be nervous and you're gonna be shaking and your voice is gonna but if you messed up the first time and you did it again and you did it again, then you now understand, oh, women actually really like men when they work out. Boom. They start working out. Go get your body done. Go get your Hey, how you guys doing today? Welcome to Ajax Production. I am your host, Eniola Ajax, and we are back with another amazing episode. Yeah, and we're back. Whew. As you know, my name is Eniola Ajax, and this is our reaction segment of our channel on the Ajax Pro TV channel, right? And on this episode, we're gonna be reacting to a certain content. I don't know much about it, but we're gonna learn about it together, and we're gonna, commentate on it together, so we can both understand what's going on with our community today. So let's dive in. I think this is where I'm at. Yup. So we're gonna be looking at why software engineers struggles with women in 2025, right? So recently, a couple of years ago, I got out of a relationship, a really long-term relationship, 7 years for the most part, and dating has been really strange since then. So I'm trying to understand. I don't have a problem with dating because the ladies love me, you know what I mean? So I don't have a problem with that, but some people do. So we gotta figure out what they're going through and how they can get it fixed. So right here we have Austin Dunham dating, and this is a guy that I was watching after getting out of my relationship because I was trying to figure out how to get back in the game of dating again, and working on myself, working on my my look, style, things like that. So he was an interesting character in helping me develop that. So let's check it out. Let's see how it goes.
So most software engineers can debug code that will break most people's brains, but ask them to get a second date with a woman they're genuinely excited about, complete system failure. I've worked with senior engineers making 200K plus who've been on 50 first dates in 2 years and maybe 3 second dates. Startup founders who raise...
So the one thing I realized about dating or whatever is that it's just like any other muscle in your body. You gotta practice. You gotta go out there and try it out, see what the girl's about, understand women, so that you can understand how they all work and how you can, not trying to fit their ideal man or whatever, but trying to understand them so that you can understand where you fit it in the women's world as well. You know what I mean? So you just gotta figure out where you fit in, and you practice that and double do that, triple do that, and by the time you know it, now you understand how women think, you understand how they move, and then you just fit into what they want, how they desire you. It shouldn't be that complicated, but people make it a lot complicated because if you haven't done it before, yes, you don't know what you're doing. Of course, you're gonna be nervous and you're gonna be shaking and your voice is gonna but if you messed up the first time and you did it again and you did it again, then you now understand, oh, women actually really like men when they work out. Boom. They start working out. Go get your body done. Go get your stuff looking good, so that when you now go to the beach in the summer, you take off your shirt. Guess what? The women are looking how your body looks good, and now they gravitate to you, and you're wondering, oh shoot, she really likes me. No, she likes how your body looks because your body type is like a titty. It's like a boobs to them. You know what I mean? So let's just keep going with the video.
There's millions but can't get a text back. Brilliant guys who can solve any technical problem except the one that matters most. Look, I get it because I lived in that world. I was a computer science major, Air Force ROTC, about to commission as a cybersecurity officer. I know the late nights coding, the logical mindset that becomes your default for everything, including dating. So today, I'm going to break down the 4 core reasons why software engineers specifically struggle with attraction, and the exact fixes that turn your analytical mind from a dating liability into your biggest advantage. And it starts with the #1 mistake that's killing your conversations before they even start. And I call it having a logical mind. Now, I get it. You've taken a lot of math, more so than the average human being. And so 2 + 2 = 4 to you. And that actually goes through in how you communicate. In fact, I would say the #1 reason why your conversations consistently go nowhere is because you're just overall too logical. Now, most men communicate in a logical way. Hey, what are you doing? I'm doing this. That's cool. logical, boom, boom, bam, we get it done. However, women aren't.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed that we men do. We kind of, like think in a one track mind, you know what I mean? And we don't understand that, like, women are really emotional and they go in like ebbs and flows. Sometimes they're happy and the next time they're confused. They're mad. They're crying about it, or you don't love me enough. You don't talk to me enough. Da da da. So you have to understand how to dance with their emotions so that you can get what you want out of women, which is their attention. For the most part.
So logical. Women emotional brain. And with that being said, we have to actually tap out of that logic just sometimes to make the conversation a little bit more fun. Now, if you don't know what logical texting or just overall being logical, what that actually means, all that really means is reading everything at face value. So if she says something, be it a statement or even a question, you're taking it literally at face value. But not only that, you're replying at face value. You're replying super logical, and this comes off robotic, and the biggest killer, which is boring, because you can do everything to a woman except for bore her. Now I know what you're thinking. It shouldn't matter what you say. If the woman is attracted to you, then she's going to reply anyway. And yes, in some cases I do agree. However, in this new dating landscape where a woman is entertaining 5 to 10 different options at one given time, guess what?
Oh my God, that's the one thing that killed my dating experience, is realizing that, wow, women are out there dogging niggas out too. Women are out there dating as many as they can. They're dating 2 to 3 men at a time. But you as a man, to do that, guess what you gotta do? You gotta have a chicken bag in your pocket. You can't just be spending on random women if you can't. You know what I mean? And you just kind of stuck in this, trying to create options, dating landscape, when the women are over here talking to multiple people because it's cheap. It's definitely the most cost-effective thing they can do. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about it too much. It's giving me a headache.
But she's attracted to everybody. And so I personally have found that the guy who has a better communication and who can actually lead that conversation to an actual date, not being so logical and robotic, that's the guy who's going to win. It doesn't matter how attracted she is to you. Now, how do we actually fix this logical communication and just this overall mindset? The first thing is that we have to start feeding into her emotion and start being a little bit more playful. So the first way you can do this is by exaggeration. So if she says, hey, what are you doing today, or what are you up to today, instead of saying I'm doing this, that, this, and that, you can exaggerate. You can make up some sort of story, paint a picture in her head. There are so many ways to do this. Also, if she said something, don't necessarily take it logically. You can play a spin-off from it and tease her. This is how we actually flirt through text, by being playful, not texting like we're setting up a business meeting. I mean, we are trying to set up some business meetings, if you know what I mean, but we're not trying to set up that type of business meeting. Right. Now, also with logical conversation, I'm finding that a lot of software engineers tend to go into interview mode, not only in person, but all.
Yes, because that's all they know. They've always been in interview mode. So that's all they know how to express. That's how they know how to express themselves in that format, and that could be a romantic killer, in the sense like, damn, she wants you to be suave, she wants to be charismatic, she wants you to be creative, she wants to be funny, she wants you to come up with things that she can't think about, right? And then here goes the engineer guy, because I used to go to school for engineering, chemical engineering specifically, but I ended up with a degree in marketing, so I understand what an engineering mind can look like. You know what I mean? It's a very focused mind. The mind is very technical, it's very, analytical, it's very logical, you know what I mean? So there's no creativity in the mix of it. But that's the difference about me, is that I am actually a very creative person. So I never could tap into that logic too much. I'm always able to, dance with the ladies, you know what I mean? So I never had a problem with women in particular. I thought I did until I got to college and I realized, oh shoot, women are looking for men just as bad as we are looking for them, you know what I mean? So we just got to find out where we fit in their lives.
Also through text. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, that's cool. How long you been doing that? Really? Tell me more about that. Like they're asking question after question after question. Doesn't matter who you're texting, this eventually gets exhausting from the other person on the other side. side of the phone. So you could follow something that I love to do, and I call it the 2-question, 1 statement, where you ask 2 open-ended questions, meaning that she can't answer directly a yes or no to it. So there's going to be what, where, how based questions, and then instead of just asking a question back, at the end, after those 2 questions, you can give just a statement. This will require her to actually invest more in the conversation, and it makes you come off less robotic and overall less logical. Now, some other advice: you can start using more flirting emojis, so the winky face or the flirty smirk face. You can also do code reads and assumptions. These are my absolute favorite. If you don't know how to open a woman, or if you don't know where to go in the conversation, just make some random assumption about her. You seem like the type too. I bet you can, which is more of a challenge. But point is, you're making a cold read, and you can do this from her profile. You can do this from her Instagram profile. You can do this even if you met her in person and you guys are now having a text conversation. Now, another reason why software engineers specifically tend to struggle with women is because of their strategy, and that is they have no strategy whatsoever. You go to work, you go home. Most of you guys actually work.
No, they have a strategy. They just assume their strategy works because it's what's working for them at work. But forgetting that work, dealing with women is not work. You see what I mean? It's kind of a play. You know, it's something you gotta have fun with. Something you're supposed to do on your downtimes, and not trying to, you know, like you said, interview them. You know what I mean? You gotta find a way, that balance. You gotta find that balance for you.
Work remote, and thus you're not getting the sufficient amount of exposure that you need because you're not putting yourself out there. Dating in itself is really just exposure. I like to relate it to fishing. So we're not hunting, we're actually fishing. We craft the attractive bait, and then we cast our bait into many different lakes, oceans, and ponds. Most of you guys are only putting yourself in one tiny little lake. You know, you go to home, you go to the gym, whatever. You don't talk to anybody at the gym, that's for sure. But of course, you work in a more male-dominated environment, so you're not even around a woman that much. So you're just masculinized over and over and over again. You really have that work, home, gym, repeat sort of lifestyle. Now, as an online dating coach, I recommend that you guys use 3 dating apps at the minimum, alongside with meeting people out in your day-to-day life. You might already be on Tinder, you might already be on Hinge, but you need to be in multiple different lakes and ponds. I personally have found that software engineers really do well on Coffee Meets Bagel too, or even an app called The League. These tend to have more career-driven professionals, more people who are inclined to date people such as yourself. So if you're not already on these platforms, you definitely should. And not only that, you should actually go out and live more of a social life, even if it means going out by yourself at least once a week. Go explore, you know, some parts of your city that you haven't been out to. Go to a bar, hang out there for a little bit. Put yourself in more environments where women are actually placing themselves. This
is very important. This is one thing I'm trying to start doing, you know, moving forward in my new reality, because I have a new video set up for you guys to come out on Friday, which is gonna be really interesting. You know, I won't say it right now. It's a surprise. But that's one thing I actually want to start doing, you know, is actually going out to an adventure by myself. Like, I have nobody else I'm with right now, so it's perfect opportunity for me to meet new people, meet new souls, and let's see if we can build amazing relationships with, you know, new people. And nothing too serious yet, you know what I mean? But just seeing who's out there and who can help us, you know, get us to the next level, you know, type stuff. So network, make sure your network is robust in a way.
This is how you win. Exposure. Now look, if you're watching this and you're thinking, Austin, this is literally my life. I'm stuck in the work home gym cycle and I have no idea how to break out of it. I do work with a small number of software engineers and tech professionals one-to-one to completely transform their dating results. There's a link down below in the description if you want to learn more about that. But for now, let's keep going, because this next point might be the most important one, and that's no sense of sex appeal. You have what I call the geek or nerd archetype. Now, honestly, I'm not one to talk, right? Even my old YouTube channel and old Instagram used to be called a Geek AMD. I was the guy who loved, you know, code, who loved creating programs on Visual Basic, who loved these Flash games. Like, this was
my nigga Ashton, is it Ashton or whatever his name is? His name is Austin. Austin Dunham. Man, Austin looked like a nerd, goddamn. He's like a nerd, so he's a perfect character to, you know, talk about this, you know what I mean? Because that's deep down who he is. He's a nerd that has revamped himself to look, to understand women and to understand the dating landscape. So yeah, you'll definitely, get something from him for sure.
Was my life. I would even solve Rubik's Cubes just for fun, just to show you how nerdy I was. However, I couldn't let my style and my presentation reflect that. Why? Because perception matters. You have to craft an attractive style and get out of that nerdy sort of geeky archetype. You have to be the sexy geek, the guy who dresses the best whenever he goes to work, the guy who knows how to put an outfit together. You basically want to have a style that makes people surprised about what you do. So if you talk to a woman and you're like, yeah, I'm actually a software engineer, she should almost be like, wow, I would have thought you were a bartender or something like literally something totally outside of your job. Because guess what? Women actually have preconceived notions towards software engineers and how they will be. And we don't want to fall into that stereotype whatsoever. Now, I made plenty of videos on style and how to craft that. But one word here that you really need to remember is simply sex appeal. Or maybe that's 2 words. Sex appeal. Wear things that fit, but this also comes down to your body. Hopefully you're already in the gym, as we spoke about before. Wear more jewelry. Actually be intentional with how you present yourselves to the world. I think if I was a software engineer, that would be like the #1 thing that I work on and make sure that I have putting out into the world every single day. Now, another point that I'll touch on, and that is being too smart. And it's actually causing your dating life to...
Yes. Okay, so it might sound bad, you know what I mean? Because you gotta dumb yourself down to fit in with a dumb world, if that makes sense. Like, even when you are smart and you know it all, use your smartness to make yourself seem dumb, if that makes sense. Like, play the game, but play the game to win. Dance around and then like, damn, I don't know if this guy's smart or just sexy as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, there's a balance to it. You know what I mean? You gotta find the balance for sure.
To suffer, because being too smart makes you overthink absolutely everything, and also makes you have what's called a higher inhibition. And you guys are already super analytical, in fact sometimes over analytical, which causes you to like walk on eggshells with women, and thus making the results worse and worse. You're overthinking about how to reply. Sometimes you do too much with texting, sometimes you don't do enough at all. You're just overthinking everything, and this is why a lot of smart guys struggle with women versus the guy who's a little dumb, a little lower inhibition. He really doesn't think about the things he does. He has the most results with women because he's not in his head. As simple.
Right. And he's interesting. He's fun. He's goofy. He's you know what I mean? He's cool to be around. Every time I'm around him, I have the most fun. That's how women think. You know what I mean? That's how women think. So you gotta you gotta be in that mode to also learn how to dance with that. You know what I mean? And like put your smartness to the side for a second. Doesn't mean you're not gonna pick it back up when it comes down to business and work, but when it comes down to the ladies, you drop your smarts a couple of notches so that you can fit into their world. Because their world is a world of a teenager. Not to be disrespectful to them or to say that they're dumb or nothing like that. It's just how nature balances everything out. You know what I mean? Yes, you're the logical one, you're the smart one. You know what I mean? But to, play and dance with the ladies, you gotta calm down to their level so that you can now swing with them and dance and have fun, and then they always want to be around you. They always want to call you to hang out. They always want to do something with you. They always want to, because you're just that guy that's fun to be around.
Well, it's not really, but I would say if you're a software engineer, coming from your mindset, which you're probably aligned with INTJ, which is like a personality type for Myers-Briggs. I'm also an INTJ, by the way. So with that being said, you actually have a superpower, and that superpower is reverse engineering. In fact, my whole entire program, Digital Romeo, is based on reverse engineering what worked for the masses, including myself. And so what you can actually start doing is reverse engineer your positive interactions with women. What signs have you noticed from the woman herself? What was her personality? How did you set up the date? How did you meet her? What are those signs and things that you can easily replicate over and over again? This is how you win. It's simply just pattern recognition. Just like coding, it really just comes down to pattern recognition. Unfortunately, we can't outsource to ChatGPT or outsource to AI at this point in time. And that's another thing that you guys tend to do a lot, is try to outsource your texting, and it comes off too robotic, sometimes even more robotic than what you would have said yourself. And so with that being said, just learn more patterns. Don't outsource to AI, and I promise you, you're going to start winning more and more. Now, if you are a software...
Yes. First, like I said, it works for me regardless, because the end of the day, I still look good. I'm in shape, so it didn't matter what I sense in particular. As long as they like me, I was gonna follow through. But I would say that, you know, like he's right. Leaning off that software would help even more, because then you come on more authentic, especially when a lot of people are now using it as a crutch. You see what I mean? So you have to go in reverse now. I guess when I was using it was when nobody knew about it yet. So it's kind of like a plus. I didn't have to think too much about what to text back. I just sent the picture to the GPT and the GPT responded, and I'll, you know, mix it with my words to make it a little more authentic. Boom. But nowadays you gotta be a little more careful, because they, you know, you can tell when something is not, it's not something that has no soul. You know what I mean? So you gotta be careful with that for sure. Let's finish up this last couple of minutes of this video, so we can call it a day over here, right?
Engineer or tech professional who's tired of the work-home gym cycle, tired of conversations that go nowhere, and ready to finally attract the caliber of woman you actually want to date, then once again, I want to invite you to apply to Digital Romeo. This is a 12-hour...
All right, he's promoting his business, and I'm not trying to promote his business for him. So we're gonna stop that real quick and get back to our show. But yes, as you can see, that's basically telling us that if you're a very smart individual, you're very smart, you're, you know, educationally inclined, meaning that you do good in school, right? You're gonna have a little difficulty with the ladies, depending on the type of ladies you want to get, because there are also some ladies that are just like you, that are very smart and they like smart men. So I don't think it's that you should just completely throw your smarts away either, because at the end of the day, there are only certain type of ladies that would date certain type of men because of how smart they are. Because they don't want any dummies, you know what I mean? I want to talk to a flathead, just like I am. Like, for example, I'm very talkative, I'm very intelligent. I don't want to talk to no flathead too. I don't want to talk to a lady that is too dumb, because it's to reflect on me, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I'm still looking for a lady that is, you know, emotionally intelligent to a certain degree. Like, I'll test her out to see how emotionally intelligent is she. Can she spend time without me? Can she, you know, take a couple of days off and not act like the world is gonna end or something? Like, you gotta be emotionally intelligent. So I understand how, you know, this could be for a smart guy, but like I said, there's a balance. You have to learn how to come off your high horse, step on the floor, and realize that even the lady that is as smart as you, or that still wants to have fun. She still wants to enjoy herself. She don't want to be all stickler, like, work. Let's find out, like, let's go get drinks. Cheers. We're gonna have fun. Let's dress down a little bit. Let's chill. Let's relax. Let's go to the beach. Let's think about ideas and fun things that y'all could do together. You know what I mean? And I understand if you're broke, you know what I mean, it's a little difficult, but hey, you know what I mean, I'll say focus on that, work on your money, work on your finances if you don't have to look. Then mix it in. Don't just not do it at all, you know what I mean? Mix it in here and there, go out on dates, see how it feels, see how you feel about, you know, the ladies, and then, you know, take notes and stuff, and then, you know, keep going on the practice, keep practicing. I would just not say don't do it at all, because you will lose the skills you need to be able to secure the person that you want. And you won't settle if you have the skill, if that makes sense. I am your host, Daniel Ajax, and we're back with another amazing video. As you can see, we're done. And I'll see you guys next week. We've come down to 2 times a week, the Ajax Show and Ajax Reacts series on the show. That's what we're gonna double down on nicely too. I wanted to do 3, but the third one will just come in here and there. So it's still a three series show, but it's not every week anymore. It's gonna be like maybe once a week, or a replacement. So instead of doing the Ajax Show, I'll probably do the Let's Talk Business, or instead of doing the reaction, I'll do the Let's Talk Business. So it will be an interjection into, you know, where we go. But if like, for example, if I don't have any business update to talk about, there's nothing to talk about. There's no point of talking about it. You know what I mean? So we're just gonna use that as the strategy for now. And, you know, as we grow and we get better, we'll get more, you know, tighter on this stuff. But right now, we're just trying to build momentum, build consistency, build the habit, so that we can keep going. I'm your host, Eniola Ajax, and we are out. I'll see y'all on Friday.